Good morning, all. Good morning. I'm my coffee as we speak. I've already went through one cup. I need to still go to the store. I do need to go to the store. Need to get my pot of coffee ready. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Drinking my coffee. Good, Florida. Good girl. Good. 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 Bit of snow in Massachusetts today. Bit of snow in Massachusetts. Greetings from Pensacola. Good morning, all. Good morning. Got our people from around the world this morning. It's nice to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, so we got a lot of stuff to cover today. We really do. It's over. So we're just going to do some updates. Just bear with me. We're going to be doing some updates on, past people that we've discussed. We've got, the main topic is, where's Kayla Brown now? So we'll get to her a little later, um, in this segment. So we will be going over one that's near and dear to me, which is Ruth Sakala. She's a 75-year-old gal that went missing December 15th of last year, right before Christmas. She walked out of the house, told her husband she was going to go to the store and go to the park, and she just never came back. And she left the keys, her wallet, all the cash at her house. And so, I had an opportunity. I will be rolling out the video. Good morning, all. Good morning. Grab your cup of coffee. Tampa, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you guys. So, at any rate, um, we we were out there searching for her at the nearest park. I can't remember the name of it. It was just out there not too long ago. But it was in a reserve. Oh, we got some Pasco people here. You guys are just in my backyard. So Tampa, Pasco people. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you. So, but anyway, she left. She was battling depression. She was on new medications, and we had an opportunity to speak with her daughter. And her daughter said, when law enforcement got there and was discussing her, and they showed them the medication, they thought the medication was awfully high for her. So she was doing new medication, and in all practicality, appeared to be way more than what she needed. So did it trigger something? It's possible. Her daughter indicated that she was depressed because of the COVID lockdowns and the fact that she didn't want to vaccinate. So she was, concerned for vaccination and what it would do. She had not been sick, and she was scared if she got vaccinated, she might get sick. So they opted to stay home versus going with the vaccination, which are, in my opinion, both reasonable options. Vaccinate, stay home, whatever you choose to do. And but she was very depressed. They said that she had not really gone out of the house much in a couple of years. She'd go to the store here and there. But other than that, nothing, right? So, yeah, it was. So I just wanted to show you guys some updated pictures. Pictures that we were actually posting around at the time were the ones that we had. Well, there's, this is an energetic, 75-year-old woman. This was not like she wasn't, uh, she didn't have any inabilities. She was cognitively there. She was physically there. Her children believe that she just, they don't know what happened to her, but they just don't believe foul play happened to her, and they still believe that she's alive. And they actually went as far as to say that they believe that she's actually in that mobile home, community, which was quite odd for me. I just thought that to be, sound is very in and out. I wonder why. I know I'm dealing with some technical issues. I was on the phone with Spectrum yesterday, but I've got a lot of stuff running on this computer. Many of you guys know that we did purchase a new MacBook Pro. I'm waiting for that session. I know nothing about MacBooks, so I sent that off. Many of you guys know Olivia is amazing, and so she was setting it all up. And then, of course, I've been out of town for like the last, I've been here and there, but our our schedules haven't aligned, and I've been out of town pretty much for the last 2 to 3 weeks. So it's been a little rough, and now she is super slammed with her job. So our schedules are just not matching up. But we will get it, I'm sure. The quality of this show will improve greatly. We were very thankful that we were able to get some new equipment, better equipment still coming. We still got phones coming, and we are working on getting Olivia a drone. So we're in the process of for the work that we do. We need a high quality drone for some amazing footage, so we can bring to all of you guys. So that's going to be, that's still in the works. It's still coming, and we're still collecting and crowdfunding for those items. So the phone's paid for. I just need to purchase it. So we are going to be working on the drone. So yeah, check your sound. Sounds very bad. Let me just go out and come back in and see if that helps. Am I any better? Wow. So you guys can't hear me, can't understand me. Hold on a second. Let me shut everything down that can be pulling internet. All right, how about now? You doing good? I did a refresh. Better? Okay, great. I shut some screens down as well. I pulled everything I needed to pull off this morning just to carry on with this. Okay, great, great, awesome. So we're in good shape. Now let me share my screen. I'm going to have to share my screen. Okay, that's my you guys got to see my notes for this morning. Yes, I actually make notes. Keep me focused. Keep me on track. So, anyways, I wanted to show you guys a couple of things for Ruth Sakala. This is the gal that we are actually. Let me open this up. Move her to the right side. And we are going to. So there's Ruth Sakala. She is a beautiful 75-year-old woman that is missing. She's been missing since December 15th. Again, she left her home without her keys or her wallet or any cash. There was some cash. There was about $200 of cash laying around the home. And she actually left without anything. So, it makes you wonder, did she actually leave for a purpose? Good morning. A lot of faces I haven't seen in here this morning. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you guys. Yeah, I wear my glasses when I do work. I've been working since like 4:30 this morning. I'm an early riser, as many of you guys know. So, at any rate, this is just to remind you guys, if you guys, cannot comment, it's because you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel. You have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel at a minimum of 5 hours before you guys can comment. So make sure that you go and like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to participate in the coffee club. We are here just covering some cases. This is our first case. This is Ruth Sakala. She is 75 years old, and she's been missing since December 15th. We actually went out into the wilderness looking for her because she did say she was going to a park. So we went through a park. I was there searching one day with Jonathan Lee Riches, And then him and Caribbean Kool-Aid were out there searching for her, I want to say multiple times, because they're closer in proximity than I am. And I just want to show you guys something else related to her. Like, she is she's a pretty snazzy gal. So for many of you guys don't, she's a hip 75-year-old. I mean, she's got some moves on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can, that was her and her brother dancing, and they were having just an amazing time. That was one thing that I can tell you. When we interviewed some people in the park the day that I was out there helping search for her, everybody knew her, that goes up to their, what am I trying to think of? The big thing, the facilities that they have there. Anyways, they do bingo and dancing, and they have dance night and everything. Hey, Truth Teller, how you doing? How you doing? And she was up there. Everybody knew her as loving to dance. This woman loved to dance. And again, I just want to pull her photo up again for everybody to see. There she is. That's Ruth Sakala. She goes by the name Edie. So Clubhouse. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for helping me. Clubhouse. So they do a lot of events at the Clubhouse. And she was known in that whole entire community for loving to be social, loving to dance. That is the one thing that everybody remembered her from. Her daughter goes on to tell me, which will be coming out once I'm able to edit the video, about how, she flew. Her daughter had to pick her up. We spoke to her daughter and her son-in-law, Frank. And they told us this one incident where she was flying into New Jersey, and they were picking her up from the airport. And literally by the time she walked off that plane, everybody on the plane knew her, was calling her by her name. She was just chit-chatting and just a lively gal. And she was just very personable. And, this gal, Edie, aka Ruth Sakala, actually Ruth Sakala, aka Edie, was just a, breath of fresh air. She was just going through, and she was a cancer survivor. She survived some of the worst cancer, and she made it through. She was recovered. She was in remission, full remission. And, it was just, they were so concerned about losing her during the cancer battle, and she survived. And then she got this horrible bout of depression from having to stay home all the time, not being able to visit with her friends, not being able to dance, not being able to go and enjoy life as it once was. And, that's where it was. Yes, Aaron, she's from Pasco County, Newport Richey, which brings me to my next thing. Let me see if I can pull this up and move it back over. There we go. So your police are still seeking answers in her disappearance. If you are asked to call, if you know any information, you're asked to call Newport Richey Police if you have any information. So 727-841-4550. 45550. Sorry, let me not confuse you. 727-841-4550. There we go. That should do it. So we definitely want to help if we can. If anybody knows any information about this lovely gal, please call in the tip. Let's see what else we've got here. So the next case that we have on here is, pretty bad. This is Tiffany Foster. She used to go by Tiffany Stark. This gentleman here is right now in jail on unrelated charges. His name's Reginald Robertson. So she's been missing. Tiffany Foster's been missing since March 2021. So we're coming up on almost 1 year of her disappearance. She left home to go shopping and supposedly never returned. Her keys, car, wallet, and cell phone were found miles away from her home. And of course, Reginald Robertson has been arrested for charges against her, but unrelated to her disappearance. And she remains missing at this time. So he's been charged, just to let you know what he's been charged with. He was charged with kidnapping and assault over incidences prior to her disappearance. She is a Georgia mother. Again, Tiffany Foster, 35 years old. She was last seen in Newnan, Georgia on March 1st, 2021. And the police said that the charges stemmed from an incident prior to Foster's disappearance, and it's unclear whether she was involved with that particular incident or altercation. I can tell you she most likely was. And he was already facing theft charges for moving Foster's car after she was reported missing. So I think that law enforcement has a strong indication that he is responsible for her disappearance, which doesn't surprise me because we discussed the statistics of, the last person that's seen you alive, and more so, it's generally the statistics are so high in crimes of disappearance and murder of somebody that it's are there people that murder people they never met before? Of course they do, but the statistics are alarmingly higher for somebody that you know. So just to let you know that we discuss this all the time, but again, I have a feeling, and this is Georgia. Now, if you guys remember, Kiera Cotton, her son was missing. She reported her son missing. They locked her butt right up. Georgia does not play. They just don't play. They find a reason. If they feel that you are responsible and they cannot pin the crime on you just yet, they lock you up on unrelated charges to keep your butt behind bars. And that's what the standard operating procedure needs to be across the country. It's primarily for people for violence like that. I'm pretty sure this is not the first time. And what's so sad is she appeared to be in the military at some point. She appeared to have and love law enforcement and had a law enforcement background. So this right here is very, very sad. She seems like she, really loved life and loved community help. She loves the support and help her community abroad, which is so sad. So let's just keep going here. He's been implicated directly. He has not been implicated directly in this mother's disappearance, and she's a mother of 3 children. So it's very sad. Her children have gone a year without their mother, and it's just sad. I can tell you the reason why I chose to spotlight this case today is because she has not been. Social media and media abroad haven't really been covering her case in quite some time. And like I said, she has been missing. We're going to be going on a year next month. And in about 6 more days, this gal would have been gone and has been disappeared for the last year. And so I decided to spotlight her case because I came across it as a 2-part segment to this channel today about 2 Georgia mothers that have gone missing. The other one went missing about 5 months after she did. And we're going to be discussing that as well. And again, in August we're going to be talking about Olivia Fowler next. This here is Tiffany Foster, formerly known as Tiffany Starks. So that's about as much information as I have, other than the fiance of the Georgia one disappeared almost 2 months ago, has been arrested. This was an article back in 2021, April 2021. And they still have not found her. She left her apartment complex to go shopping and was reported missing the next day after she failed to show up to her college class. So it doesn't even sound like this man actually called her in as the missing person. It was her classmates or the college that she went to, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a military college. So we really want to, if you guys see her or have any information for her, she disappeared in Newnan. That's Newnan, Georgia. Newnan, Georgia. She's been gone for about a year. I have to say, with this gentleman behind bars, she's most likely deceased, and they just don't have enough to charge him with her murder. Sasha, I would not. No way. No way. That could be so. You know what? Um, I can see, you got to play the tape through. I'm going to push this up. I see where you're going with this, and I understand why you say that, because it would be important. But the problem is with this is our government likes to violate our privacy and our rights that I can foresee. I mean, we have to play the tape through. What could this be used for? And not only that, but anything that deals with computers and electronic can be hacked, right? So people that we don't want to know our movements, you know, that don't want to know our movements could eventually know our movements. So, but I get where you're going with it. I get where you're going. It's not a bad idea, but I wouldn't participate. I would digress. I would sign myself out of that program. But I get what you're saying, and I wish there were things that could help track down people a little better. But I have to say, I was discussing this with a friend. It's hard these days to get away with anything. It really is. I mean, if you go anywhere, even um I'm fortunate because across the street from my house I have wonderful neighbors, and they have cameras around their house. Well, the one in front of their house, because they've got like three of them in the front of their house, they've got the one on the corner pointing to this house, which is nice. But even if they didn't have that, every single light in Manatee County has traffic cameras on it. So if I were to call law enforcement right now and say, hey, somebody burglarized my house, or, the neighbor called and said, they haven't seen me for a few days. The last time they saw me was taking my garbage out on Monday morning. They would be able to look at, I mean, there's not one traffic light in this county that doesn't have a camera on it. They would be able to track the people in and around this area at the time. Is it large, or is it going to time consuming? Of course it's time consuming, but there is ways. It's hard these days, except when you're in desolate areas, right? And I think that there needs to be an initiative, because everybody has a cell phone. Even people in desolate areas have cell phones, and they have Wi-Fi. They're starting to create these programs and satellites, and we've got Hughes satellite internet and all this other stuff that can literally go anywhere. HughesNet, I think, is the name of it. That can literally you can have internet literally anywhere. You can have it out in the desert where there's nothing. And I think that the government, in my opinion, need to be working on making sure that there is cell service, adequate cell service across the United States, even in the desolate areas, and actually should be helping the less fortunate counties that are in these desolate areas and that aren't richer cities and counties, help fund them to have those types of services in that area, because everybody does have cell phones. They've made cell phones where you can't even remove the battery anymore. Back in the day, you could remove the battery if you didn't want somebody tracking you. Nowadays, your phone can be tracked whether it's on or off. Many people don't know that. And that's what has solved a lot of crimes, is that data service, that those pings and things of that nature, finding and locating the people in and around the area at the time of a crime. So with that being said, I really think that instead of, putting an implant in you, you might just want to, do something less evasive, like, putting up more cell towers in desolate areas, and, giving government grants for traffic cameras. They're very great utilized tools for law enforcement. And I think that would probably be more important, in my opinion, than injecting a body with a. Oh, yeah. It's. No, probably not. So, so this is the gal, beautiful gal. She's probably, I always try to bring hope. But when you hear this and you hear the length of time and knowing that she had three babies and knowing her background in the military and, going to a military college and really trying to do well and aspire to do better in life. And then hear that she walked out to go shopping and was never heard from again. It doesn't sit easy with me. It really doesn't. It doesn't sit easy with me at all. And then especially the fact that law enforcement pulled a charge out of their butt from, months prior to this incident to finally charge this gentleman with, that tells me, and they charged him with tampering with her car after she went missing, which again tells me he is most likely involved in this. Now, I tried to look up and see if there was any updates on this case, whether he was finally charged with maybe her murder or her disappearance or anything related to that. I did not find that, but I did not go into the court records either. So has there been updates? There's not been very many updates on social media. There hasn't been any updates related to this case in mainstream media, which is a shame. So because, I was covering her and Olivia Fowler, which I'm going to be discussing next. This is the reason she was brought up, is because there's just not a lot of attention to this matter. So anybody that has any information related to the disappearance of Tiffany Foster Starks is asked to please, please, please reach out to the Noonan police. So at this time, let's see what we got here. That's what's upsetting to me, right? Is because, and this is why I bring up these cases, especially the ones where, law enforcement picks up people and throws their butt in jail on unrelated charges. It is exactly for that reason, is because I want to point out TBI has enough to charge Candace and Don Wells with unrelated crimes, unrelated to Summer's disappearance, and they're choosing not to. And I have thought about this long and hard about what we can as a group do about that. And, we did do a small protest in front of the TBI evidence area, where they process the evidence. But I think it's time for a mail campaign. I really do. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit. And it's a mail campaign to TBI. It's a mail campaign to the law enforcement arms related to this case, because they're the ones that need to be pushing this case forward. And then we need to start another letter campaign to the state attorney's office, because the people that are supposed to be fighting for Summer are the persons of interest in her case. So we are the public. We really don't have any pull when it comes to law enforcement and helping them along in the case. So I figured if we can make such a profound impact on them, then maybe, just maybe, we will be able to push the case and let them know we have not forgotten about Summer. And that is what I'd like to do, because, there are still some people, still talking about the same old stuff related to Summer Wells. It's not helping. We need to find solutions that are going to help. We, as a community, already know everything there is to know about Summer Wells, what her last steps were, what Candace's last steps were. We already know all the information we are going to find out about what happened that day. Can we agree on that? I called this last week and picked up the phone. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree, Florida girl. I agree. So this is anyone with information. There we go. Thank you so much, Anissa. Thank you. So how about the Attorney General? I called this week and they picked up the phone. Great idea. We need to, start this thing, where we can do something beneficial. I mean, we have exhausted the, Summer Wells. We have exhausted, trying to explain what happened. The bottom line is we know as a community, as a true crime community, as Summer Wells Army, that Summer Wells, is probably not coming home.
And nobody's really fighting to push this case forward. So, yes, I do believe something like a mail campaign, a phone campaign, telling them that the public has not forgotten about her. She's not going to the bottom of the stack. We want action. There's enough to charge them. And it's not stuff, it's not evidence I have. It's evidence that TBI and the law enforcement already have on both Candace Bly, aka Candace Wells, and Don Wells. Why are they not using it? I mean, the pictures that Chris McDonough have in and of itself proves the majority of the allegations that we have, right? So I believe it's time to just move on and figure out how to help Summer Wells, truly help move this case along. And talking about the same things over and over and over again is not helping, right? It might be helping whoever's talking about her over and over and over again financially, but it's not helping the case at all. So we need to figure out how to move this case forward and how to apply pressure so we want law enforcement to come out and say, oh, we have no evidence of child neglect, right? Because they haven't charged them with child neglect yet. And there was more than just Summer in that household. And I want TBI to explain to the public why they have not charged these parents with what they should be charging these parents with. You watch Georgia, where they throw your butt in jail. They don't play. And then you got a state like Tennessee that's lackadaisy, that sits on their hands and does nothing that can possibly or potentially help the victims. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing I have ever seen in my life. Brandis is leaving and BK is staying with Candace. What? That is sick. Hey, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, they do. So we are not even into that segment. We're going on a tangent. We're not even into that segment of this channel yet. That's coming later down the line. So absolutely. Exactly. If we could all come together and really push forward some meaningful solutions on, and meaningful assistance. Again, I think Jonathan Lee Riches said it best in one of his posts. He says, typically it's the parents that are pushing these cases forward. But in this case, the parents are the number one persons of interest in this case. They're not pushing this case forward. So who's the public? So just us by ourselves is not going to work. It needs to be a huge campaign that many people get on board with and do almost like what we did to the state attorney. I guarantee by us sending the state attorney thousands of letters, it is what gave the, he's got the highest sentence possible for the violation of probation. He only got 24 hours jail for the DUI, which is insane to me. Yeah, it really is insane. So, oh my God, that's just, I guess he's getting out of his mama's garage. So I guess that's all I can say about that. So there it is, government line. Thank you. Amy, I would like to, how do we do this? Why don't we collect some information on the, 1-800-TBI fine is really, we don't want to clog that number up because that truly is for tips. So I'm not going to advocate for anybody calling there for, any type of, pressure or anything like that. That is truly needs to be stays open for tips. It's not just tips for Summer Wells. It's also tips on other crimes in the area in Tennessee. So we don't want to use the 1-800-TBI fine number for this, but we need to find the headquarters of TBI. We do have the information for the lead investigator on this, and we need to start looking at the state attorney, assistant state attorney for the state. And we can CC the district and assistant district attorney in Hawkins County. I think it needs to be a several prong approach. We need to hit CPS, DC. I guess it's DCS in Tennessee, but we need to hit them with some letter writing campaigns saying, you need to be behind the charging. They need to lead the charge in these child neglect, child endangerment, and child abuse charges. They do have enough to do that. Maybe that would spark the state attorney to pick up some cases, but we need to have a several prong approach to this to get some action. But it just can't be a few of us. It has to be a lot of us. It has to be what we did for Summer Wells when we knew Don Wells was going to be going to court for his violation of probation. It needs to be large. It needs to be out there. And I think we can get a lot, people love Summer, and they're willing to lay down the hatchet, so to speak, to work for her benefit. And I think that is what needs to happen. We all need to come together for a common goal and unite around this one common goal, and we can heckle another day. But I really think that this is important. And we really need to try to figure out how we're going to do this. I will be working later today on this. We're starting for those that are just joining. Many of you know, last year, I did several segments through the day on lives. I'm going to start picking that back up again. So we're going to be doing the coffee club in the morning. We're going to be doing something in the afternoon around between 12 and 2. I'm not quite sure on the timing yet. I will get that figured out. And in the next week or two, we're going to be rolling out an evening segment as well. And each of these lives are going to be covering different things. So it's not going to be like you're going to be hearing the same stuff. There may be some conversations from the morning in the afternoon, but we're going to be covering different stuff in the morning and different stuff in the afternoon and evening. So not quite sure how those are going to look or roll out, but just please, if you guys have not been getting notifications about my lives, make sure you go out there and change your notification bell from none to all. And if that doesn't help, then unsubscribe and resubscribe. It will not change your wrench status if you have a wrench in this chat. So let's get on to the other one. We will come back to Summer Wells later in this segment, but we want to go over Olivia Fowler. Olivia Fowler is another gal that went missing in Georgia. She went missing in Georgia about 5 months after Tiffany went missing. So Tiffany went missing March 1st, and I believe Olivia went missing around August 13th, August 14th. I believe she was called, her missing person was actually called in on the 14th, but she was actually technically missing on 13th, early morning hours of the 13th. So we definitely want to look at her. Oh, and before I get there, I did want to play one more clip for you guys related to Tiffany Foster. So I did catch this.
Help bring her home. Tiffany Foster hasn't been seen since.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened here. Let me take this off. Not sure why she went on this side. Let's try that again. I don't know why she went on this side and why it wouldn't let me move her.
Help bring her home.
There we go.
Since leaving her apartment March 1st, the next day, she missed class at Georgia Military College. Her disappearance was recently highlighted on NBC's Dateline. Thanks to the Breonna Harps Community and Educational Foundation, the reward in this case is now up to $60,000 for anyone who has information that can bring her home safely. Foster's car was found on March 8th in College Park, about 30 miles from her home. Her purse and keys were inside. Her family says she's a devoted mother who would never abandon her children. Foster's fiance is charged with stealing her car. He's also facing kidnapping and aggravated assault charges for an incident in November of last year, unrelated to her disappearance. He's being held without bond.
That's just a little more information about Tiffany Foster's case. So I just wanted to get you that information. If you have any information, thank you, Anissa. She's up on everything. We do appreciate your work and getting this information out. Thank you so much. Oh, good. I'll have to go over and look at them. Many of you guys know I don't really follow too many other YouTube channels here and there because I devote so much time to research and getting stuff prepared. I've got a lot of editing. Even Ruth Sakala, which I met with earlier this month, still haven't even rolled out their interviews yet. So I'm kind of behind the 8 ball on that. So I will be working diligently today to get all that stuff done. And just wanted to tell you guys about that. Now, we're going to kind of dovetail over to Olivia Fowler. Olivia Fowler is, again, another missing Georgia mom that hasn't been seen since August 2021. She hasn't been seen since August 2021. Now, while I don't, I didn't look up her past or anything like that, she appears to have, a little more issues or problems in her everyday life, but again, does not mean anything. It just means that she is probably associated with more of an underbelly of society. Again, still sad, still very, very, very sad. And we want to find out a little more information. I could be wrong. Again, I have not looked at her past, but we want to find her. She's missing a child is missing their mother today and has been missing their mother for quite some time. So yes, I know she stays on everybody's mind, but it's like, we have so much footage that we want to come out with. And I just, at this point, I'm not sure if it's going to do any good because my mind is made up on what happened. A lot of people's minds are made up, whether it is in line with my views or not. Everybody's minds are already made up with what happened with this child. And now it's coming whether, in my opinion, whether or not this child was abducted, which law enforcement has stated on multiple occasions that Summer Wells, there's no evidence of an abduction. What does it mean when there's no evidence of an abduction? It means law enforcement doesn't believe there's any abduction that has taken place with Summer Wells. And yes, thank you. Yes, Olivia Fowler. So, and whether people believe that she was abducted or not, the bottom line is the lifestyle and the crap that the Wells brought to their home that caused this whole situation. I believe something happened to Summer at the water hole. Hunter was forever changed that day. Candace was forever changed that day. The one thing that those two had in common with Summer Wells was the water hole. Because after that, Hunter went home. And he was, it sounds to me, based on his information, that he was contacted before law enforcement, which was kind of odd. But we will go into that another day. That's the first time I heard that name. It's the first time I heard that name come up in any interviews. Not one person that we've interviewed that was in and around the Wells have ever brought up that name. Not even Don Wells. And he's given me a litany of people to look into. Yes, it wasn't a Jeep. It's an Xterra. It's a Nissan Xterra. And yes, that one video where he, the one where Summer was dancing in front of that red bin, that was his Xterra up there. That was the one time he had ever showed up at that house to pick up a paycheck. He only worked with Don for about 2 months. I can tell you that law enforcement, FBI, and TBI have cleared Dudley. He is not a suspect in this. They cleared Dudley before they've cleared the parents. I just want to put that in perspective for everybody. Yeah. Well, we did an interview with him, Anissa. We did an interview, sat down with him because And we actually talked to Don after the interview, and Don said, well, I don't think he did it, but you just can never be too sure. So even Don was he had a bone to pick with Dudley. And I actually have some, I need to reach out to and get those voice. I got some tape recorded stuff of how Don was acting the day after Summer was reported missing. So I've got those and some of the language. He did not sound like a distraught father of missing a daughter. He just didn't. So those will be coming out in the near future. So I will let you guys know when those are coming out. Shell is a creator on YouTube that BK keeps porn bombing and striking. Oh, well, we don't discuss negatively, about other creators. If many of you guys know, Kitty and I've had our differences in the past, and it's we just have to agree to disagree. So that's where we stand. I'm kind of surprised that he's moving in with Candace, but it does make sense, doesn't it? Okay, so moving on. So this is our next person. Let me pull her up. This here is Olivia Fowler. She went missing on August, I can't remember, August 31st. Let me get down to her. No, August 14th. Sorry. So Olivia Fowler, another Georgia mother missing. She was reported missing on August 14th, 2021 in Meriwether County. According to the sheriff, she was seen the day before, which was Friday the 13th, a little freaky, Friday, August 13th, around 2 a.m., where she left her home, which was in the 100th block of Long Road. She was reported to be walking, and I can't even pronounce it's like, I can't even pronounce it. I haven't been able to pronounce it for 2 days, so I'm not even going to try. But it's Chalybate. Shalybate? I don't know, community. I can't pronounce it, so don't beat me up over it. Which is just outside of the city limits in Manchester. She's 5'2". She's about 110 pounds, has blonde hair, and has green to hazel eyes. She was last seen wearing a tie-dye shirt, cut-off shorts, black flip-flops. Additionally, the sheriff's office said she was missing a front tooth and has a tattoo on her right arm that says, "I love you." Fowler is also known to go by the name Hightower. So if anybody has seen Olivia Fowler, they're asked to call 911 or call the Meriwether County Sheriff's Office, the Criminal Investigation Division. And there are several numbers here for the Criminal Investigation Division. 706-672-6675. They can reach 706-672-6651. Or they can reach out to the MCSO direct line at 706-672-4489. Yes, Sasha, that was, like I said, I always look at these cases and I always try to, give you guys the real of it. I make a determination based upon what I'm reading. It's just my opinion, but it sounds like there were some, issues that may have not come to light related to this. Does it mean that she deserved, being injured or hurt in any way? It doesn't. Nothing that anybody can do in their past should ever result in them going missing or grave things happening to them. So I just want to make sure that we are not here to victim shame. We are here to help the case by giving you guys all the relevant facts necessary, because, hey, you never know. Somebody that is in here may be part of the underbelly society in Meriwether County. She is, in fact, had some issues, maybe drug related or alcohol related. She may have had none of those issues. The front tooth missing, it makes me concerned about, the violence that she may have been, may have been perpetrated upon her at some point in her life, which is very sad. So we just want to make sure that she is brought to the attention of the viewers here. We want to help her family find her wherever she may be. But she has been missing now for well over 6 months, and very well may have something, something grave may have happened to her. So she is a very beautiful young lady, and we want to help her family as much as possible, find her or find any information related to her disappearance. So, they also have a Facebook page. Let me just get this all up too. They're also doing a hashtag Bring Olivia Home. She was a beautiful, beautiful young lady. We want to try to help her family any way that we can to bring her home. So Meriwether, Harris County, missing person, Olivia Fowler. We need to look into this case a little bit more, find out, because, the other case related to Tiffany, we did have the information, that it is possible that her fiance had a hand in her disappearance. Here, everything I've read does not indicate anybody related to Olivia Fowler's disappearance. That's just based off information I've been able to see online. I'm not out there in this county with boots on the ground getting information and digging into this case. So I have no earthly idea if even the information I'm receiving online is accurate. That's the bad thing. That's why when I go out to these things, I always tell people when I'm there in person, the information that I read and saw online is polar opposite of what I actually see and feel when I'm there in person. Is this a case where I may go up there just to get some information on? It seems like it's going cold. It might be something that I would do. Would we be covering Tiffany Foster Stark's case as well? Absolutely. Why not? I'd like to find out from the people in and around her clique, what the true story is, especially about Reginald. There's something there. There's something there. Law enforcement just doesn't go and throw you in jail for, past crimes if there's nothing there. And I always talk about, there's a statute of limitations for a reason. And, Georgia is utilizing those statutes of limitations properly. Tennessee, not so much. Good morning, C12. Hope all is well with you. Everybody in here is just enjoying themselves this morning. It's been very, very nice. We've been discussing a lot of cases and just going over and bringing awareness to the missing. Got a few more to go over. I mean, we're already through an hour. I was hoping that I could see, Ronnie on here, because I really would like Ronnie to be on here because she's got Graciela. And if you remember, we tried to bring her live last week and were unable to do so because of stuff going on. She was having some technical issues with her computer her phone, and she was unable. Good morning, Betty fan. Thank you. We love you. But, we were unable to go live with her. So, and she has a lot of wealth of information on Graciela Garcia, which went missing. And, she was supposed to drop food off to her son. And then the stepfather just shows up and nobody's seen her ever since. And he was basically lying to people that she, had already left for the day or this or that, which we find to be when people are trying to cover their tracks, that's what they do. Again, upset that they have not been able to arrest him on any past criminal activity, to put him behind bars, to try to, pressure him into telling where Graciela is. Graciela just not the kind of person that just walk out of her life and never return with her children and grandchildren and things of that nature. It's just not going to happen. So, she did meet with foul play. I truly do believe, and we want to bring a spotlight to that. So we will, be discussing that in the near future, as soon as might be this afternoon, whenever Ronnie is moving about. So, yeah. So we did. We're going to keep moving on, and then we'll go back to the topic of today's, segment, which is, where's Kayla Brown now? What's going on in her life? It doesn't sound like she's living, a good life. It doesn't. I mean, she does. We will go through it, and things have, definitely looked up for her. She does have a child now, so hopefully that child is, keeping her strong and keeping her moving forward. But she's met with some, after Todd Kohlhepp, she has met with some very painful realities since that. Since she was chained up in the storage container, it's sad. So we'll be going over that. We've discussed enough on Summer Wells already earlier in the segment. I'm probably not going to go because I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say. We are going to start putting some action items in. We did that mail campaign for Don Wells with the state attorney as well as his the judge. And we're going to be applying those same kind of tactics for TBI, the investigator for TBI, and the state attorney's office to step in and figure out what's what, because, this is ridiculous. Those parents should be sitting behind bars for the past trespasses they did upon their own children prior to Summer Wells ever disappearing. And we need to figure out what the best strategy of that is. And yes. Okay. So C12, yes, I did. So just going on a little side note here. Many of you guys know we went out to Moab, I want to say back in October of last year to follow. We interviewed over 50 people. I actually have so much unseen footage of our times in Moab, Utah, that it's not even funny. But there was a gentleman that was detained. I'll say detained immediately following the girls' murders. And he was driving, I believe, a green or blue car, and they thought it was him. And they actually had arrested him. He worked with Kylan Schulte at the Moonflower. And, it sounds to me like they finally were able to clear him. He was under a cloud of suspicion in that community of only, I want to say, under 5,600 people that live there. He was under a cloud of suspicion for a really, really long time. And if you recall, one of the things that I said was, I didn't understand why the Moonflower was like, we talked to so many people in and around Moab area, and actually had a gentleman from Salt Lake City, Utah, which was kind of, leading the charge on getting their story out. He met us out there and took us around and took us to the site. And he had already met with Cindy Sue, Cindy Sue Hunter. And we went out there and got to see, where the girls lost their lives. We got to meet and interview a lot of people in and around the girls. And so there were a lot of suspects. We went there with 5 people, and we left with, I want to say, 35 or 40 people on our list. It was that crazy for such a small community. It was really, really that crazy. So let me see if I can pull up and we'll just go through it. Hold on a second. I'll have to let Olivia know. It's been on her channel for some time now, so I doubt she'll care. So we will just go up here. Give me just a second. I know it's on here. Okay, here it is. Did we do any other episodes? I think she did one more episode. I'm not sure, but let me go ahead and pull this up, and then I'll okay. All right.
This documentary is dedicated to Crystal Turner and Kylan Schulte, who both tragically lost their lives and their murder remains unsolved. It is adamant that anyone who was in the area between August 10th to the 18th, please check your dash cams and phones for any footage.
I've never seen her that happy. It's just so sad they didn't have more time together. Thinking about how vulnerable they were when they saw they were in harm's way is hard to think about. We don't know what they saw. Just them knowing that, they probably weren't going to get out of there. All they were doing was saving money to have a better life someday, living carefree in nature.
And that was stolen away from them.
Yes.
Too soon.
Everything was. Yes.
We're in town. We're friends with Diane, Crystal Turner's cousin, and we're here trying to get some answers on them.
I didn't know your daughter, but I could tell that, she was very in love with Kylan, and they both loved each other very dearly. And
they were crazy about each other.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah.
We're going to try and get some answers here.
Okay, that's going to be wonderful.
Here's the future property in Hot Springs, Arkansas, that Crystal and Kylan planned to live in, which was part of their 5-year plan. Their future was stolen away from them, from a senseless murderer.
So before we came out, we decided to do some due diligence, reach out to people. There is a murder board. We have a murder board. We have suspects in our murder board, on our murder board. Here they are. That looks like a creepy guy. This gentleman here checked into
Warner Lake
on the day the girls were killed.
Before I get into the trip and what we found out while we were there, here is a timeline of events. On August 13th, 7 p.m., Crystal and Kylan went to Woody's Tavern to hang out with some friends. They left with a friend, and the three of them drove around town for about an hour. They then went to their friend's house and hung out till about 12 to 12:30 in the morning. The girls had mentioned that there was a creepy guy way too close to their campsite, and they planned to move to a different campsite the following morning. They also mentioned that the creepy guy had left and returned with clean clothes and food. The friend offered for them to spend the night, but the girls insisted they go back to their campsite because they had left their rabbit Ruth. The girls left and made their way to the La Salle Mountains. From Moab to the girls' campsite near Whispering Oaks Ranch, it's about 44 minutes and 23 miles away. The girls' campsite was just 500 yards away from Whispering Oaks Ranch. Sources tell us that the girls frequently camped at this spot, a favorite of the locals. On August 18th, Cindy Sue Hunter, a friend of the girls and Kylan's father, went looking for them. She went to the campsite the girls frequented, and she found Kylan in the creek. She went into shock and called the police. It took them about an hour to show up, but for her it felt like an eternity. Police found Crystal also in the creek. Something unusual that Cindy noticed was a blue car that slowly drove past her while she was parked on the side of the road. 2 weeks earlier, a woman and her friend were camping at Willow Springs, about an hour away from the girls' campsite. In a video that went viral on TikTok, she explains a creepy encounter they had one night.
So at like 1:30 in the morning, Julie wakes me up and says, somebody just shined a light in our tent. There's like footsteps right outside of our tent. We get out of the tent and we shine a light at the dude. And I remember he was older, he was big, at least 6 feet tall. He had glasses and a beard.
Oh, sorry.
And he had a big t-shirt on, and I think there was a pocket on it. He ran back to his pickup truck. I think it was a black pickup truck. He got in it and he sped off. But that just didn't sit right with me.
On August 13th, the last day the girls were seen alive, at Warner Lake, which is about 18 minutes away, these 4 men were hanging out. Suspect number 3 owns a blue car. Suspect number 2 said that number 3 had stolen his gun.
The day I bought the gun in suspicion is the day that happened. I bought the gun, turned around, handed it to Chad. It's on tape in the pawn shop. Turned around, give it to Chad, and then I turned around and was buying another knife, and I turned around and looked, and he was gone.
A witness came forward and said that suspect number 3 came into their job and said that his friend had been up at Warner Lake with his car, but he was on the other side of the lake and kept saying that he wasn't there. He said if he saw his friend, that he was going to quote-unquote slit his throat.
So just to let you know that the rest of that is on Olivia's page if you guys would like to see that. Emma, I want to give you a shout out. I want you to have a speedy recovery. Please take care of yourself. Sorry to hear that you're going through so many problems, but we will be praying for you here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We love you. You're a value member of our community here, and we want you to do better. And we're thankful that you came in to say hi, even though you're dealing with so much. So thank you. Thank you. Yes, June. And that's the crazy thing. Yes. And these girls didn't know each other. Many speculated that, Brian Laundrie could have been responsible for Kylan and Crystal. We determined when we were out there that there was no possibility of that, but we, out of an abundance of caution, put him on the bottom of the list, but never removed him. And so it was one of those things, but, he, after the FBI investigation, after he shot himself in the head, they did ultimately clear Brian Laundrie of any wrongdoing with these girls. But just to think, and I always say it gives us the EBGBs to think that these 4 people crossed paths, and within 1 month of them crossing paths with each other, they were all of them had lost their lives, all of them. And, 3 of them being murdered and 1 committing suicide. So it was, it's a crazy tale that this did happen, but it did. And so we want to definitely, honor Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. It does sound like there are some things that are, moving in the right direction in their case. So we definitely want to, bring awareness to their case because there's some activity. We were able to give, now I'm not saying that the information that we were able to give Jason Jensen, the PI, was accurate, but we did provide him videotaped, interviews that we had. One being with a gentleman that may have been a witness that nobody had questioned. So I'm curious to find out whether those people have been questioned. We did talk to the state attorney months ago about what the holdup is with this case. And apparently, forensics takes a lot of time. And that's what they were working on at the time, is that, thank you for that, Anissa, forensics. And so hopefully some of those forensics, yes, they're sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on some conversations here. Yes, we did. And actually more than that. I think it was like 35. We were actually able to move 2 of our suspects to the bottom of the list, 2 of the 5. And then we added more on top of that. Like we met with some van lifers and, there's a lot, they call it a van life community there. But in many of these cases, when we talk to these people, they were van lifers out of force, not because they wanted to be. So the properties up there in Moab, Utah are extremely high. A dilapidated 2-bedroom home in Moab, Utah was bordering almost $500,000. It was really, really bad. They had more hotel rooms in the area than they had homes. So it seemed like it was more of a tourist destination than it was a place where people lived full time. What I found odd and what upset me and disturbed me so much about covering Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner's case is the lack of um, photos and posters up about them. And it was almost like the government there didn't want to talk about their case in the public because it was a tourist town. They didn't want people worrying that there could potentially be a person on the loose. So it was a little frustrating. It was a little frustrating to say the least. We did bring that up. Why is there, when you go to, say, Rogersville for Summer Wells, there were photos literally everywhere of Summer Wells from Rogersville, Hawkins County, all the way to what was the other county right over there? I can't remember. I think it started with an S, but we were there. We met with if I have to go back and look at the videos, because those are the officers that came out with us when we were in front of Don Wells' job. I just can't remember. My brain is kind of giving me problems, but at any rate, Sullivan, thank you, Sullivan County. And, there was just photos of Summer literally peppered everywhere. And that was people that really, truly wanted to find answers and needed community support in doing so. In Moab, Utah, you got none of that. You had stickers. It's not that their polls were pristine. They had, stickers about everything from, just everything. We'll say that. So, yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. But they had, political stickers up and down these light poles and stuff like that. But no, they literally have one newspaper in the area. They weren't reporting on Kylan Schulte or Crystal Turner. There was no posters asking for the public's help. There was nothing out there for Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. And when we heard Utah, I have to be honest, when we heard Utah, we thought about, the Latter-day Saints, the Mormon community. We didn't think that maybe people were really accepting of their, lesbian lifestyle. And we were pleasantly surprised to find out that Moab, Utah was very accepting of all. So that element just didn't seem to ring true. And, it's just hard to say. Their case is a classic whodunit. Was it a local? Was it a person visiting to the area? Obviously, even the creepy guy that was really close to their camp, which he really was very close to his camp. When I was confused when I first went up there, we went to Warner Lake, and the campsites at Warner Lake were very close together. So it was like, and they were marked campsites. So it was very questionable to me because they kept saying close campsites. And I'm like, well, these campsites are close. But that wasn't where they were camping at the day that they were killed. It was off the LaSalle Mountain Loop, which was further down, I think about 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes away from Warner Lake. And when we got out there, then it kind of clicked, because I've got some videos and I will bring them out and post them, and it'll show you where I'm saying, these campsites are really close together. But that was at Warner Lake. They weren't there. They were off LaSalle Mountain Loop. And when you get there, you realize how open it is. And there is no good excuse for anybody being right on top of another campsite. And then when we go past the bushes and see where the other campsite was, it was like, yeah, that would have given me a creepy vibe too, with a gentleman there that close and literally on the other side of these bushes, where you could literally be watching and listening to everything the girls did, because it was right on the other side of where they set up their tent. We were able to see where their rabbit Ruth was kind of caged in. And then you saw that irrigation drainage ditch, which people called a creek. It's not a creek. It was an irrigation drainage trough that went through right behind where they were camping at. So it was odd. It was just an odd situation. And then to hear that the gentleman that was on the other side actually left, And he didn't come back. They didn't indicate he came back with new clothing, like he went to the store and got clothing, or he went, came back with bags from a store. He left and came back with clean clothes and food, which indicate to me that it might have been somebody that lived in and around the area camping there. Also, those keys, the keys that showed up at that spot, which was a little weird. Everybody kept saying we needed to find a guy that played a pan flute. Come to find out, those keys at that site, they had a gym card on them. And so they were able to track those keys to who they belonged to. And wouldn't you know that the keys belonged to a gentleman that played a pan flute, which was, kind of made my hair stand up. So yeah, people have, because we were there, months after the girls were murdered there. And yeah, they did. People were living there, or not living there, but camping there. Not the day that we went up there, but we heard that there was an RV that had stayed there in the weeks surrounding the, after they released the site and opened it back up to the public. So yeah, there have been people that have stayed there since. I can't recall the last time anybody's been murdered in that area, up on that mountain. But I can tell you that when we were there, there was no cell service. There was no internet service. There was nothing. If you got in trouble, you were hours. And that's if somebody found you. These girls were out there for a few days. They weren't found until the 18th of August. And, it is presumed that they met their demise either August 13th or August 14th. So, 3 to 5 days it took anybody to even find them and locate them. They knew they were missing. They knew they were missing that Sunday when they didn't come into work, but they thought, since Kylan Schulte was off of work and Crystal was indicating she was tired of working Sundays, they just thought that, that was the Sunday that she chose not to go in. It wasn't until Monday that they realized that there was something more grave going on, and sent out the search parties. McDonald's did, and they couldn't locate them. They called law enforcement. Law enforcement couldn't locate them. They specifically told law enforcement that, don't go to Warner Lake. They were not camping there. They moved from Warner Lake and moved to the mountain. And so it wasn't until Cindy Sue indicated that she searched for hours upon hours before she was able to locate the specific site. And she basically described when she saw Kylan in that irrigation trough that, basically shock. She went into shock, and it still took law enforcement over an hour to get to the location. So she was sitting there in shock with her dogs in the car for over an hour waiting for law enforcement to get there. So a lot of stuff with this case, lots of stuff. So, wow. Yeah. Yes, and that's why we say that's a sign, that's a telltale sign of PTSD. And then, of course, we've got interviews with, this is on the Summer Wells case for those. We're kind of dovetailing. I'm just answering some or responding to some statements in here. And that's why I say something happened at that water hole, because even Hunter's mom, grandmother, and great-grandmother say he has never been the same since that day. He was acting weird when he came back home. So it wasn't like he started acting weird after he found out Summer Wells was missing. He was already acting odd at the time that he was dropped off at home, as if something had already happened. So yeah. So this is now on Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. There was the reason why we're talking about the RV is somebody in here had asked if other people have camped on that site since these girls were murdered, and the answer is yes. There were multiple people that have camped on that site. When my friend was up there before he showed us our group around that area, he was up there once before, and there was an RV there, and he had videotaped that RV, which had nothing to do with the case at all. But he did videotape the RV as he was capturing the scene and reporting it back on Twitter. So. Yeah. Oh, there's Ronnie. Good morning, love. Good morning, love. So, Ronnie, did you get your phone and audio and stuff up and working on your phone? Did you want to talk about Graciela today, or did you want to schedule that for maybe tomorrow morning? Or, I'm starting to roll out with an afternoon segment of Bullhorn Betty. So, and we can definitely do it in the afternoons as well. I can tell you that the afternoons don't have as much viewership. So if you'd like more eyes on your case, the morning segment would be the best option, just FYI. Mm-hmm. You know what? And that's a question I've had too, is why did she go to her mom's phone? I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard to pull the records because of the active case, but we do have all the incident reports that we were able to acquire here, while we were there. Oh, no, it's not. This is just the quitclaim deed for the property. I've got them here somewhere, but we were able to acquire all the documents for Don Wells, and here they are right here. And they have phone numbers on them of who actually called and what numbers that they did call from on here, on these reports, these incident reports. And we've got more. Let me just go over here. We even have more than that related to the incident reports for Don Wells that, for calls that went out to Ben Hill Road. And let's see if I can find them here. Way up here. Oh, there, I just passed them. I saw them. And they actually have the telephone calls that were called. Like this one was from, is that 6? Let me see if I can go back. Let me show them. Let me see if I can. So like this one is from, it looks like August 26, 2020. But if you see, they have the telephone numbers of the calls that were made. And the crazy thing is that the calls that were actually made were from different phone numbers. One said Bly or Harrer, and we have the Harrer's number, and then another phone number. Okay, there it is. So we have phone number. That's Charles Moore. Yeah, Charles Morris. That's a gentleman that called to get his kid off the property that was drinking. So you've got, here it is, caller Candace Bly, and the ending number is 7094. But this one came in, that's from Candace Bly too. Hold on, let me find the one. Maybe there's another one. Yeah. This one came in from Candace Harrer, and it's an 8601. So it does appear that, the crazy part is it does appear that they were calling from different numbers, because she alleges that her phone did not work, right? Her phone did not work in the area, but clearly there are two different numbers here from two different callers that are calling from that house. So it makes me wonder why she chose to call from her mother's phone and not her phone, when clearly she's been able to use her cell phone in the past to make 911 calls from that residence. So there's a lot of information. Like I said, law enforcement has more information than I do. This is all I've been able to ascertain during my time in and around the Rogersville and Hawkins County area. And with that being said, the stories don't line up. But, again, we have people that would prefer attacking us on our work than actually having an open mind, because they don't like me. So instead of having an open mind and looking at the facts, they would rather say that I'm a liar and I have no facts. But, we did do a lot of due diligence while we were in the Rogersville area. So, we do have these facts. Again, facts. This is a legal document that we acquired from the dispatch, the Hawkins County Dispatch Center. These are the incident cards for the calls that they made going up there. So, exactly, June. I have no earthly idea. Clearly, she's lied multiple times, and I have no earthly idea why she is still able to live her life freely. And she is becoming a blister on my butt, right? And just like any other politician, when you become a blister on their butt, they go into action. It's time for us to go into action. I think the mail campaign and the call campaign to the Assistant District Attorney's Office in Hawkins County was very successful. Don Wells is behind bars right now. He's going to be behind bars for the next 6 months. And he may very well be there for the next 6 months thereafter, depending on what that's another thing. People called me a liar for me reading the local newspaper that came out. What is it? WHLR or something like that. They came out and explained what his punishment was. I read it verbatim from the local newspaper, not in the area. And they're like, oh, that's not how it read. That's not what they said. That's what the newspaper said. That's what the local newspaper said. Now it's all about, oh, no, he's there for 6 months. And if he can get an in-house treatment center for the next 6 months, he'll be able to get out after 6 months. That's not what I heard or read. But, hey, whatever. But they literally tried to call me a liar. Like I have actually tried to deceive my viewership by telling them flat out lies. I was reading the local paper that was there and what they posted on Twitter. It was from Bianca, a journalist in the area. I would think that she got it right, but hey, I could be wrong. But again, these are the same people that say I live with my mother. So whatever. And just to clarify for the folks that are watching, I do not live with my mother. I own my home free and clear, by the way. I pay taxes. And yes, Mom does not take care of this child here. Let's see here. Good question. A good question. We will never have that answer. I can tell you that she was in that swimsuit when they left the water hole. They said that she did not change out of it, but she was getting cold. She was having the chills and shaking, which again, we looked at that photo. I really believe she was in the process of expiring when all that was happening. I don't know how a better way to put it because it's so sensitive of such a subject. But they put her in the chief, and you can hear in Chris Donna's interview, they refer to it being Tennessee hot, and it was a hot day. Why are you putting a child in a jogging suit on such a hot day? Something was medically going on with her. You hear in the video where they got the picture of her purpling cuticles, and you hear, Candace in the background saying is her arm still up? Like, they already knew something was going on. And I don't understand, they're coming up with these things. But here's a great opportunity, because I guarantee that a lot of this stuff Dawn Wells was putting in her mind. She is no longer with Dawn Wells. Dawn Wells is in jail for a while. Why isn't law enforcement trying to question her? She's not as strong by herself as she was with Dawn Wells. This is a prime opportunity for law enforcement to pressure her. So I'm just curious as to what's going on. What's going on? I'll go fund me and PayPal for her to, yeah, sad. Yeah, and they had just filed taxes June, right before Dawn went there, and they claimed the kids, and everybody's like, oh, well, they should have claimed the kids. They had the kids for 6 months. I just think it's in poor taste. Like, your child's missing, and your other kids were taken from you because you're deplorable parents. But hey, let's go get money for my kids. The kids that they wouldn't feed properly, they wouldn't bathe properly, and they wouldn't clothe properly. But hey, let's go get government money from them. It's just crazy. Welcome. Let's just keep going here. Something was crazy going through her mind, or both of their minds. Yes. And Dawn Wells also had, in one of the phone interviews that I had, kept saying, the last time we saw her, we saw Summer. It's like, and then he tried to backtrack later. And I always look for the truths and the lies. And, then somebody came out later. Everybody kept attacking me. Oh, he wasn't there. He made a mistake. Right? And then we had somebody else unrelated to me. I don't even know who they are. Put a great analogy. And I actually posted it on my community tab of the vehicle that Summer was in. And it didn't appear to be the same vehicle that she went to the water hole in, which is odd, right? And then when you start looking at all the vehicles on the property, it appeared that the only one that would have that interior was Dawn's work vehicle. And you're like, what? And then you go back to these inconsistent statements that everybody kept saying he just made a mistake on. And you hear him say, the last time we saw Summer, it's like, Dawn, were you there with Summer when Summer went missing? Because you told law enforcement that you were at work. So I'm just curious how all this stuff is going to pan out. But I think what we're going to end up finding out related to this case is that something truly, in fact, happened at the water hole. They did not get her medical attention when they should have. And the scream that Jody Sue heard was most likely Candace realizing something happened to Summer. And the reason why I say that is because Candace it says that she never heard a scream. She, all this stuff related to the scream never happened, right? Wouldn't it be odd if we found out it came from her and she's been lying to the public this whole time that she never heard a scream? And the fact that she says that Summer was missing from the home, yet she gets into a vehicle and drives like a bat out of hell off the last place that she saw her daughter, looking for her daughter. Those are not, even my haters can't say that they would have done that. Maybe they would. Who knows? They hate me that much. Who knows? So it's crazy. So I do believe that Candace did leave that property, and I believe she did drive like a bat out of hell. Surely do. Where she was going is where I have my problem. I believe she was going to meet Dawn. And I believe that Summer was in the vehicle with her. So, and I believe that it was not just Summer. I believe Grandis was in there too. And I believe that when they were driving like a bat out of hell with the baby, I believe that's when that video was taken. I really do. Of the infamous last picture and video of Summer Wells. That's what I truly believe happened. Could I be wrong? Of course. But it's just taking pieces of the puzzle and putting them together. So, whatever. That's my opinion. and I'm entitled to it. So, yep. Let's see. Okay, what? Oh, yes and no. I don't think anybody can prepare you for that, period. But we do go out looking. And, we did come, I think, God works in mysterious ways. And many of you guys know when we were looking for not Kylan Sholey, we were looking for Kathleen Moore. We came in within feet of her body, but could not see it. We didn't have the proper gear with us that day. It is alleged, I guess I have not looked at the court documents now outside of me meeting with law enforcement to give a buccal swab because I touched that, that knife, the tip of the knife. I didn't even know what it was at the time. I just thought it was a can until it was in my hand. Because they gave me a buccal swab, we thought that I may have came in contact with the murder weapon. Since then, somebody had posted some document from, or purportedly from Pasco County. I have not been able to look into it, stating that she was shot. So it's possible that I never came in contact with the murder weapon at all, but we don't know. I haven't looked into it. It came from a place that wanted to say I lied, which I didn't lie. I didn't lie about anything. It's on video. But I am looking into that. I don't know where that document came from. When I have some time, I will be requesting or doing an open records request from Pasco County to confirm whether she was shot or how she was murdered. I think at this point they would have that. They must be charging, Colin. They charged him with the murder, but in the means of which she was murdered has got to be at some point released to the public or available to the public. I went and looked at all social media and mainstream media and have not been able to find any articles past, I think it was like December. So I have no information based on articles. They haven't updated the case. But if you guys recall, when we were out there was no media out there anyways. Nobody was interested in that case. The interest came when we started throwing a fit on social media. We were able to actually get Spectrum Bay News 9 out there, as well as WFLA. And they just did a small little skit on it. And that was it until the press conference. And then everybody under the sun decided to go to the press conference, but they weren't interested in the case at all when it was in the, when people needed to try to find her, And of course we had these people that said that they were the mother and the sister of her, and come to find out they weren't. They were just really good friends. But how disrespectful they were to the family of Kathleen Moore, that truly were the mother and sisters of Kathleen Moore. So, I'm sure they won't do that again, but still at the end of the day, they did do that. And it was very highly disrespectful, in my opinion, to Kathleen Moore's family, which we were in contact with. So, yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, meat cleaver. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, it was still a crazy thing, but we did come within feet of her, where she was actually located, wrapped up. And even then, we did see some stuff out there. It was peppered with a bunch of, litter and things of that nature. And I keep wondering if I did see her, because the person that found her said that you couldn't even tell that she was inside there. I mean, a lot of people say this is the second case that we covered that we've came, Brian Laundrie, we were within 1,000 feet of him. But this one we were in, under 50 feet of her, or finding her 50 feet. I want to say 20, but I would say safely say within 50 feet of her body, and didn't even know it. And everybody tells you about, the birds and, other, wildlife that indicate that there's a body that's decomposing there. I'm telling you, we did not have those indicators on Brian Laundrie's body. We did not have those indicators for Kathleen Moore. There were no birds. The only thing I saw is on the top of the next door neighbor to Colin's house, there were 3 blackbirds, big blackbirds, but there was 3 blackbirds, which again, I remember pointing them out. and kind of gave me the EBGBs because I always equate blackbirds to Alfred Hitchcock, from the movie, the black and white movie that I watched when I was a kid. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's what we do. We try to bring awareness. So finally, we're getting to the top of the 2 hours. So I do have, this afternoon segment that I'll be working on. I'm not sure when it's going to come out because I've got to edit videos, and sometimes video editing does take a lot of time. I have to tell you, I'm not as it was funny because when Olivia, when I watched her do her editing, she's like, like she knows this program in and out, right? And I don't have that program. And so it's crazy because I'm on here and I'm doing it. It takes me forever. Like I did that 9-minute video of Todd Kohlhepp, and having to, I did a voiceover on it, just explaining his past. That's episode 1. I'll be coming out with episode 2 in the near future, going through the different places, even the Superbikes Motorsports motorcycle shop. We went there and saw that area as well, but it literally took me like 4 hours to do 9 minutes. It's insane. It is insane. You have to overlay this, you've got to overlay that. And so it does take time. So getting back to why we are here. Hold on, I don't need that. Let's see, let me view. So we can get, there we are. Why we are here. So what is going on with, where is Kayla Brown now? We're covering this case with, serial killer Todd Kohlhepp. And we just want to know what is going on with her. She was the only survivor that we know of outside of the 14 or 15, the young girl that was captured and raped when Todd was a teenager. This is the only other person that we can see that has survived. Are there more survivors? We don't know. He had a pilot's license in other properties. Was somebody chained up on another property we don't know about? We don't know. I can tell you he's a confessed serial killer. And does he actually have other victims? With a pilot's license and property in other states, I'd have to think so. I mean, serial killers just don't stop killing until they're stopped from killing. So he's been stopped from killing. So there's no more, unless he kills somebody in prison, there's not going to be any more deaths under his belt. But I don't see him going from 2003 to 2015. That's a 12-year span without killing anyone. He lived, in his own words, he kills people. So where's Kayla Brown? Kayla Brown and Charles David Carver had been in a relationship for only a few months. So they were only in a relationship for a few months when they chose to live together. For all intents and purposes, they were happy, in love, and hopeful for the future together. But they were having difficulties making ends meet. So Kayla was actually cleaning properties for Todd to make some additional money. And he was a successful real estate broker, 5 years prior to her ex-boyfriend. And we'll get into that gentleman in just a second. But in August 2016, Todd actually hired both her and Charles to come to his property to help clean his 95-acre property in South Carolina, which we were at. We were at that location. And apparently Todd had gone into the house shortly after they came on the property and went and retrieved a gun and shot Charles in the chest 3 times. Boom, killed him. And then took her into captivity. That's what she basically told, from my understanding, what she told Dr. Phil and what she told on the stand at that court hearing. So, and what triggered this whole thing about them finding that these people were actually out there? What led law enforcement to Todd Kohlhepp's property is some people knew that he was on their property, and they started pointing out that Charles Carver is making Facebook posts that don't sound like him. They believed that somebody had actually taken over his Facebook profile. They were saying that him and Cecala got married, they bought a house, they moved away, and they're like, wait a minute. First of all, we know that they're not, there were some other exchanges on Messenger or private messages to one of Charles' friends. And he said he doesn't know his friend of being on drugs. Charles Carver was not known to use drugs. So these posts seemed out of character, as if he was messed up. And he's like, I've known this guy for a really long time. This does not sound like him. And then you got the post on Facebook of them getting married and moving to the house. They knew, everybody around them knew they were having financial problems. Where did they come up with the money to buy a house? Where did they come up with the money to buy a house and get married? They're struggling. When did they fall into this windfall of cash? So anyways, they said, this doesn't sound right. We believe somebody has taken over Charles' Facebook page. We need you to start looking into this. And then police started pinging cell locations and cell towers and things of that nature, and located the last spot that she was on this property. They pulled search warrants and things like that. When they came on the property, she started taking her chains, which she was chained around, from my understanding, around her neck and around her feet. She was chained up like a dog. She was chained up like a dog. And so she started beating on this metal container, and law enforcement finally heard her and opened it up. And sure enough, she's in there with like this makeshift bed on the ground. She said that Todd took her out every single day. I want to say between 1 and 3, and forcibly raped her with a gun to her head every single day. Allowed her to eat, gave her a bowl of water to wash herself with every other day. She lived deplorably for months, but she survived. So where is she now? What's happened to Cecala? Life still hasn't been very good to her, folks. It hasn't. So in August 2018, she did go to court and file a suit against Todd Kohlhepp against his estate for actual and punitive damages, and was awarded $6 million as a result of the kidnapping. During the trial, they decided the damages. Let me just read this here. A psychiatrist testified that Cecala would require medical attention and therapy for a really long time in order to feel better. So she did have, emotional distress, which anybody would. I'm sure she probably has PTSD to this day, any kind of loud noises. And I don't even want to imagine. So a friend says, they hope she moved on from the pain, and she was actually working to become a victim's advocate. I don't know where all that went, but I can tell you in February 2019, her new fiance, Adam Mason, ended up killing himself. So it was ruled a suicide in July 2019, but she did get another boyfriend shortly thereafter. So, you have a traumatic experience. And this is just my belief. So she had a very traumatic experience in 2016. And, she was in court, I'm sure, until 2018, 2017, however long it took for that whole court case to get over. Then she sued him personally, was awarded $6 million. And then she goes right into a relationship. That relationship, something happened, and some more trauma happened in her life. He killed himself, and it was cleared as a suicide. But then several months later, you get into another relationship. It just seems to me she needs to have some healing going on in her life, some real healing. But, to each their own. But just seems, I don't know, it just seems like she's not giving herself time to heal. Yeah, he said, Miss Robbins explaining, he stabbed himself in the heart, allegedly. Allegedly he stabbed himself in the heart. Um, so there's still some quirky things still in and around this case. She was. It's crazy. Truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. It really is. It really is. And in July 2019, Cecala and her then boyfriend, James Moore, were charged with third-degree criminal domestic violence. So there's a lot of domestic violence going on in her life as well. The charges stem from an altercation between Cecala and James, who were living together at the time. She seems to be doing much better now, and she has stated, and she has started a new relationship. Cecala is still living in Anderson, South Carolina, and seems to have a daughter as well. So it sounds like she is moving on with life. She now has a child. Nothing changes a person like a little baby. Hopefully in the better. That's what we want. Sometimes, some of the cases that we cover, it shows that, sometimes having these children actually is a detriment to the people because they don't know how to handle it. And these poor children lose their lives because of it. So I'm very thankful that, she may be having some, I would recommend that she handle, some of that trauma if she hasn't already done so. I'm pretty sure she's went through a lot of therapy, but sometimes things that happen, sometimes therapy is just not enough. You've got to, I don't know. It just messes with your head. So, but she is the only active surviving victim of this latest stuff. The other one, they never released her name that I can find, of the gal, the young child that he kidnapped with a .22 caliber in 1987. Her name was never really released, so I don't know who that was, but I'm pretty sure that was pretty traumatic as well. He was going with Cecala to keep her safe and was killed. Makes you wonder. Yep. Yeah, if you suspect a child of being abused, please don't forget to call the national hotline. And guys, we put this stuff up here, this Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline and stuff like that. And I want to make sure I make a disclaimer because there's a lot of people that abuse these and abuse DCF for their own twisted, sick revenge. This is for legitimate claims. If you're using these systems to injure somebody, to cause them frustration and aggravation over an allegation you don't yourself really believe, but you just want to make their life miserable, you are wrong for doing that. You are absolutely wrong. You're utilizing resources when there are hardly any resources available for these types of things for your own benefit, for your own revenge. And I do not advocate for that. And shame on you for anybody that has done that in the past. We want to make sure that these resources are used appropriately and, with people with need. In my personal opinion, and you guys know how I feel about this, if you truly believe a child is being injured or abused, call the local police station. They should be the ones handling criminal investigations. They should be the ones handling these criminal investigations, not a social worker. They can handle the referral over to the nearest social worker, but at least you know that there's an affidavit and a criminal investigation if you truly believe that a child is being injured or abused. Now, this is a great tool, but when it comes to children, this whole anonymity is for the birds. If you truly believe that somebody is being injured, go down to the police station and put your name on an affidavit and sign it under penalty of perjury that you believe that this child is being injured. If they find out it's not, you're not going to be held liable if you truly believe that child was injured. But you're starting an actual criminal investigation that can be followed through by law enforcement where it needs to be handled in the first place. You're right. But I'd rather have a paper trail than a phone trail, right? Just my opinion. Just my opinion. But, there are abused children out there, and to be utilizing resources for, revenge is sick, in my opinion. So I hope nobody in this community or anybody watching me has ever done that. If you have, don't do it again. Learn from the mistakes, but please don't utilize resources that could be going toward another child that truly is in danger on a petty personal matter. That's all I'm trying to get across. Well, Melody, I personally know people that have had their children taken away from them that should never have had their children taken away from them too. So it's like, my trust with, and there's been children that took way too long to be taken away. So my trust with DCS as opposed to law enforcement is a little different. Like it's still at the end of the day, I just believe that law enforcement needs to be handling criminal investigations, not a social worker. That I think, in my opinion, law enforcement should be notified. Then they send the referral over to Children and Family Services. Right now, it's opposite, and I think that's wrong. Social workers should not be in the position of investigating criminal conduct. They should not. They're not equipped to. They've got enough on their hands. They need to do what they were designed to do, which was be social workers. Social workers are not detectives, and I think the detectives and law enforcement need to be handling that. So, just my opinion. Just my opinion. That's cute. That's cute. It was funny because I told you I was on the phone with, Spectrum yesterday. And so I was telling her, because I was trying to make sure that I need to change out some equipment here. And I wanted to make sure I didn't go down. We have to have a service tech here. I don't want anything going down until I have somebody here to swap out the stuff. I can't go down for, for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. I need the stuff being done immediately. And so it was funny. We were just sitting here talking, and I was talking about, the channel and the stuff. And she was telling me about her son. Her son was 2 years old. And I wish I had her channel. It was really cute, but she does these videos of her son, and her son was cooking. He's only 2 years old, and he talks, and, you can understand what he says. And she was describing some of the videos that she had already put out on YouTube of him cooking. And I'm just telling you, I'm like, man, people would eat that up. That is just too cute. A 2-year-old, cooking cupcakes. And she says, and she goes, when I turn my head, he does the stuff that he's not supposed to do, like lick the spatula or lick the thing. And I'm thinking, oh, that'd be too cute. Like, you're making, cupcakes, which family's going to eat. Who cares if you got a little baby slobber on it, right? Who cares? So I was just, I should have gotten that page. That would have been super cute. I love watching. It's stuff that brings, brings a smile. Like we watch and deal with such horrible stuff. It's nice to have something cute and something light and something funny, just to kind of have that happy balance. And it was really cute. So, Ronnie, I didn't see where you responded to me. Did you want to do Graciela, say tomorrow or this afternoon, or how would you like to handle? I still want you to come on to do, because you know more about Graciela than anybody. So I would like you to come on and kind of speak about, the case of a missing person. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we all have our stories of abuse, abuse that we've seen, whether we knew that it was abuse at the time. Like even when I was younger, I didn't realize that what I was seeing, or even what I was suffering from myself, was a form of abuse. So, we need more activism and advocation for what abuse is, And how do I identify it quicker? Like even with Summer, there were so many people in and around Summer Wells that saw these horrible conditions, but never did anything about it, including the church. So it wasn't until Summer went missing that everybody came forward. Well, that's when it's too late. We need to have people strong enough and, brave enough to come forward before it gets there. Nisa's bacon and eggs. Somebody needs to send me some bacon and eggs. I'm hungry. Yeah, maybe I'll order some food. Yeah, poor little boy. Poor little boy. You ready? You want to come on now? I got some time. Or do you want to go on this afternoon? Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, we never think it's going to happen until it happens. And then, at what point is it abuse? I mean, whenever I was learning how to swim, my dad threw me in the pool. Is that abuse now? I don't know, I'm not making light of the situation you were just discussing, 16 months old, but, we don't really think of it. We don't identify as it, but it doesn't, you never know when it's going to happen until it actually does happen. But should you report it? I mean, I would side on, err on the side of caution. If you, okay, now, all right. So let me go ahead and drop you a link. Sorry. But I would err on the side of caution. If you think that it's potential or possible that, this child's being, call it in. I'd rather them, check on it and find out that it's not abuse or nothing's happening than the guilt of living with what if I didn't, what if I, for example, the gal, the ice cream shop owner at Rustic Row, she beats herself up every single day for not seeing the signs of Gabby Petito. And when we were out there, she was literally visibly crying. She was upset, that this beautiful young woman lost her life, and she was just in her shop and she didn't even know it. She didn't even see the signs. She didn't know nothing. And that the girl's dead. So, we'll wait for Ronnie to get on here. She's going to be discussing Graciela Garcia. Graciela Garcia is a woman that has been missing for quite some time. Weird factors associated with Graciela that make this feel as if it's, not, there's foul play. You feel that there's foul play in this case. So, that's kind of where it appears that, what's going on here is it does feel a lot of foul play. So we're going to wait. Ronnie's been covering this case for quite some time. She's going to hopefully her audio and video and a camera are now working where she can call or come on. I don't know if there's a way to call in on, let me see here. Yeah. And I can get a few more people. So if you guys want to, come on the panel and talk about if you guys are following another case or want to bring awareness to another case, I'm happy to have you guys come on and talk about what you guys know about the case, because I got to tell you, there's so many out there. It's hard for me to cover all of them. It's hard for any creator to cover all of them. Wow. Melody, I would be calling law enforcement at this point, to be honest with you. I really would. I would be filing a criminal complaint. Wow. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, Melody, you need to call law enforcement and file a criminal affidavit. That is, we talk about, stuff. So for those that aren't, following along, so kids being bullied, police aren't doing crap, go up the chain, start calling the state attorney's office, start filing complaints against the law enforcement that aren't doing anything. I mean, start getting a social worker. There's advocates. There's abuse advocates out there, and they can help you start going through. Why does it feel like my heat's on? Hold on, guys. The air conditioning felt like the heat just came on. It's weird. But there's advocates out there for this type of stuff, and they can help advocate for you with the police. They do it for a living. They do it free of charge because they themselves have gone through it. So I would recommend doing a multiple step approach, not just leaving it to law enforcement, but sometimes you've got to pressure law enforcement by calling the state attorney and saying, look, I've had enough of this. I filed a criminal investigation. Or you know what? Do what I would do. I would just go up there, and every time an incident happens, start filing a complaint and telling law enforcement that you're not going to stop until they get off their butts and start investigating this. And I'd file one complaint for every single incident that has happened. And just keep going up there, keep calling them. I'm telling you, when you're a blister on the butt of anybody, squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's hard, and sometimes you just got to fight 10 times harder. So, no, you're not. I don't see you backstage, hon. Hold on. Let me invite you again. You're going to have to you got the wrong stream. Hold on. Let me try again. I may have sent you to the wrong stream. Hold on. Let me make sure this is it. Let me make sure that's the right one. Is that the right one? Yeah. I don't see you backstage, Ronnie. Try that link. Good. Yeah. So just, I would literally start calling. And then not only that, but the police go up the chain, go to the commander, go to the chief, go to the lieutenant, go to somebody above just the street. The street cops can only do so much, but you start going up the chain to things will start getting done. It just, sometimes things take a little more fight than just writing an affidavit. So, and not being taken seriously. The time when they start taking you seriously is when you demand that they take you seriously. So don't give up. Just keep moving forward. Ronnie, I still don't see you backstage, honey. Okay, yeah. So is that the right one? I mean, I'm in this right now. It says live. Try. Yeah, let's see here. This is definitely the right one that I just copied. You see, I'm putting it in this chat here. Click on the link in this chat. Here you go. I'll just put it back in again. Click on that link. Good, Melody. Just keep it up. Good things will happen. It'll start moving in the right direction. Make sure the link ends with that JN. You might not be copying it correctly or something, Ronnie. So we'll just wait here for you. We'll just sit here and wait here for you just for a little bit. Hopefully we get the technical issues. That's Graciela Garcia. We're going to be listening to Ronnie here shortly. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to wait for Ronnie to get on. Hopefully she gets the right link. It's her first time doing this, so just bear with me. Yep. If you guys want some Bullhorn Betty merch, we have everything. The top seller is obviously this cup. I talk about it a lot. This has been the top seller on the site. It has. They like this. I have 2 different kinds. Oh, thank you, Susan. Sweet. Thank you so much. I have this logo here. I got a different one. This is by far the favorite. It's more sleek. The other one has like this little smoke that says coffee. Be honest with you, I should just take it down because nobody likes it. They love this one. This particular one here with this logo on it. With that coffee cup. That's the one that it appears that everybody likes. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you so much. See, keep saying ended it. Are you? So go to, do you see, okay, Ronnie, do you see, let me send the link to your text message. Hold on a second. You can click on it. I think that'll be easier. There. It's hopefully I'm sending it to you. I just saw your text messages. Sorry. So it worked for you. Okay. So Ronnie, I just sent that to you by text. Click on that link and let me know if it still says ended, because if it did, then I don't know what's going on. Ah, there she is. All right, guys. So this is for Graciela. Let me get this up. Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
All right.
Sorry for the problems.
I don't know. That was weird because I think it was the old link.
Yeah, that we were going to practice on.
Yeah.
But the good news is everybody can hear you. Everybody can hear you, and we can see the little burble over your face, which I appreciate. So we're good. So tell us about you have been pushing me for some time to cover Graciela Garcia's case. You've been doing a lot of due diligence and a lot of work on the back end for this case. Just tell us about her. Tell us what you know. Tell us what you can tell us.
Okay, so she's from Hermiston, Oregon. And I'm sorry, you guys, about my rough voice.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You should hear me after I've been on the bullhorn for a few days.
From smoking. I gotta quit. Don't smoke. Quit smoking. So she's from Hermiston, Oregon, and she's a well-loved community person in the community. She's a hairdresser, and she loves gardening, and she loves her family, and she's a Hispanic woman, and she's got a big family, and lots of grandkids, 3 daughters and a son. And she's just, she's been married twice. Her ex-husband lives in the area, and she married her current husband. He's from Mexico, and they got married in, I believe, Las Vegas. And I believe they lived there for a while. But I've got to be very...
Tell me a little bit more about the weird circumstances which led to her disappearance.
Okay, so this is really strange. So she was at work. She had a salon out of her house.
And actually, that's kind of in the picture of what the picture I'm showing of her is. It appears to be her salon in her home.
Yeah. And she had planned on, she had shared custody with her ex-husband of their 14-year-old son at the time. She went missing, well, the last known sighting of her was November 8th of 2019. And then her family filed the missing persons report on 11/11/19. So on 11/8/19, at 7 p.m. was the last anybody saw her. So she was talking to her son and planning on taking him dinner after she got off work, and which was around 7. So she left work at 7 and was going to take him dinner, left her salon, which is at her house. This is so bizarre. And the next thing you know, her current husband is showing up at the son's house, or at the ex-husband's house, taking dinner to the son. And he's asking, "Where's mom?" And he's like, "Well, she's at home in bed." Well, that was kind of weird, that's not like mom, she always fulfills her promises, but he took his dinner and went inside and noticed that he had missed several texts and phone calls from Graciela. So he tried to call her back and text her back, and nothing. And that's not like her at all. It went straight to voicemail, and she never, ever had her phone off. Never. So that freaked him out. And he called his sisters, and they all went over to the house. And remember, she's supposed to be in bed. She was not there. I've been speaking to the family. So, and I have to be really careful what I say, because I do know some things. So I have to be really careful. But okay, so they got there. Graciela was not the neatest person. She always, like when she was home, she would take her jewelry off and leave clothes strewn around the room. Her bedroom wasn't real neat. But when she was out and about, she had all of her jewelry on. She would wear all of her rings and whatnot. But when they were home, when she was home, her jewelry was laying out on the stand. It was never placed in a certain place. Well, when the kids got there, everything was put nice and neat. All the clothes were put away. It was too neat. That's not Gracie. That's not her. Her passport, her ID, and her phone were gone. Her car was home. And her husband said that she went somewhere in the pickup.
Was the pickup not at home?
Apparently it was not. And this I just found out a couple of days ago.
So
So
didn't they find some items of hers somewhere else as well?
no, they have not found anything else. They have
Okay.
not found
What was
anything.
oh, I think it was the ping. Didn't they do a cell phone ping?
Yes, they did the last ping was at 12:30 a.m. that night, on 11/9/19 over the Washington Bridge outside of Hermiston, which is over the Columbia River.
And did they ever do any water searches of that Columbia River that you know about?
They have done, as far as I know, one search, which was May of last year, on the side of the highway outside of Hermiston. That's it.
So they've done no water searches whatsoever?
No. They searched her house.
Yeah, but I find when you have a missing person, see, this is another thing that, it's hard because there's so many people that go missing every single year. Law enforcement does not, call in, the forensic teams and things like that at first. Typically, they, check everything, which means that they pretty much, when it's a missing person, they inadvertently contaminate the crime scene because they're not looking at it as foul play. A lot of these people that go missing, believe it or not, are found, right? But the ones that aren't found, that are, it's more grave. Now you have a little bit of more problem because they're reported missing. They didn't do all the due diligence that they should have done up front. And then they're having to play catch up. And then there's things that fall through the cracks. There's, forensics that could have been done at the time that now can't. But I'm curious, even with the forensics that may have been done now, that they do a lot of different things, but when it's not done up front, it's hard. Now, people will say, well, she's lived in this house, her DNA will be all over it. Yes, they will be, but you're looking for, say, blood, that stuff typically doesn't go away over time. And sometimes you can find it years later, but were those types of, tools used at all in the house?
Yeah, I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Well, here's what I'm listening to, and I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't know a lot of this information. I didn't know, the specifics about the Washington Bridge, her phone being gone from the Washington Bridge, and being near that Columbia River. It makes you wonder, is some things, at the bottom of that river with the pickup truck being gone. It makes you wonder, if that's where they dropped off the cell phone,
Yeah.
or even chucked it in the river. Where is that pickup truck? Is it also somewhere in that river, or is it in a secluded place in and around that, and people, how far away is that Washington Bridge and Columbia River from her home?
Just maybe 3 or 4 miles.
So somebody could technically go there, dispose of something, and walk back.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
See, because the other thing is you're always looking at how would this stuff be taken care of? Because with all this day and age, it makes you wonder if that's the last ping. I would think that somebody would be wanting to look at, traffic cameras, local store cameras. But at this point, with so much time going by, if they didn't collect that stuff up front, it's gone.
Yeah.
That information, that those videotapes, those recordings are gone. So, and why would that be important is because, say, for example, if it was this ex-husband, or not the ex-husband, but was the current husband, boyfriend, or whatever he is to her, you could see them walking back home. If you could map all the ways back to their house, it would be either that or a friend had to have picked them up. And if a friend picked them up again, you would see, vehicles, license plates on those traffic cameras. It's just, but if those things were never done up front, the videos could be gone forever. And
Exactly.
it makes it even more difficult to solve these things. That's why it's so important. But we don't know what they did. We don't know what they did. So,
yeah,
it's just a sad story. She's a very beautiful woman, but
she is.
yeah.
I feel so connected to this because, I had just moved to Hermiston in June that year. And then she goes missing in November. And I didn't really know about this case because I was just home all the time, taking care of my granddaughter and taking care of the house for my daughter and, just doing my own thing. And, my daughter had mentioned it one time, and I, it was an unfortunate, another missing persons case, that I couldn't do anything about. And
well, you're doing something about it. I mean, it's all about bringing recognition and attention to a case. I mean, that's really the name of the game. When you can't do, I mean, you've done a lot. I mean, it's knowing what's going on, and not only that, but this just has all the hallmarks of foul play. This has all the hallmarks of foul play, and not just all the hallmarks of foul play, all the hallmarks of foul play by a significant other because of the weird. I mean, how often, you probably don't know this, you might, but how often has the stepfather ever taken food to her son before?
I don't know that either.
I have a funny feeling you're going to find out next year.
I can definitely find out though.
Yeah, because you're talking about character, things that are out of character. Those are really, and sometimes it's the smallest nugget that breaks a case wide open. And I'm pretty sure that, law enforcement has asked the children this already. How often did he do this? The strange behavior. Why was it the family that called the missing person and not the husband when she didn't return home? Why was it the husband saying she was in bed when she wasn't? These are all things that don't make sense. And it makes you wonder why, if there's unrelated charges. At this point, the majority of some charges, the statutes of limitations would have already ran out. But if they would have utilized those early on in the investigation, they might have been able to charge and hold the husband of hers. But it just doesn't seem like, she just walked out of the house to walk out of the house and never return. It sounds like there was an altercation, especially since she told her son she's leaving to go get him food. The stepdad shows up and says she went to bed. Like, who does that? Who calls their child and says, okay, I'm leaving the house now to go get some food. And then they're not the ones that show up. They just told me they were leaving to go get the food.
Right. Now on Facebook, on the Find Graciela Garcia Facebook group, I did some digging, and on one of the posts that one of her daughters put up, it did say that they were having marital issues and she was scared. And there were issues, and the one relative that I'm speaking with, she also confirmed that. So but there's nothing set in stone here. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know
suspicious,
for sure.
But very suspicious nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, just like any of these other cases, we don't know for sure. But I mean, it's definitely Boy, I wish I could open my big trap.
I know. You and I have discussed it, and we're going to let you keep your trap shut. So
Yes.
we want as much information as we can have, but yeah, you did explain to this case to me in depth, and I'd prefer you citing, erring on the side of caution and providing information that could, jeopardize stuff. So, I get it.
To tell everybody, the reason for that is for the safety of the family and for the safety of myself and for the safety of Andra. Because it's big.
Yeah.
So,
but we want to find her. We want to bring attention to her case. If anybody has any information about Graciela Garcia, we're asking that you stop what you're doing. Look at her beautiful face. Anybody that knows anybody that may have information, that's the one thing about social media is I could be here in Florida and have this airing, and somebody over in Utah knows a family member over in Oregon that knows this. I mean, for example, we were out looking for Ruth Sakala, and a gal by the name of Caribbean Kool-Aid, which we've seen her online. She's helped in the past with searches and stuff and getting some information to help families in searches. But she decided to reach out and said, hey, I'm not doing anything today. I'm in your area. Let me come out and help you search for Ruth Sakala. So we went out there and searched for her, and then we were starting to talk and this, that, and the other. And we were starting to do some social media profile, previews to see if maybe Ruth had reached out to any friends or family and decided to go visit them or something like that. And come to find out, Caribbean Kool-Aid, actually, her father, her father's old boss was Ruth Sakala's daughter.
Wow.
Right, from New Jersey. So it just shows you that, we're all from different places, but it doesn't mean we don't know people from other places that could potentially help in a case or find something, and we were able to reach out. There were several other friends, believe it or not, that were connected with Caribbean Kool-Aid on this case. And when she came out, we had no earthly idea about this. It was just through organic searching and really looking in and digging into the case. And here we have a connection with the family where we can reach out and start filtering information to the family and giving them what we're doing. And that also let us, like I met Ruth's daughter earlier that day before we met up with Caribbean Kool-Aid, and she was actually leaving town to go back to New Jersey. So Caribbean didn't even get a chance to speak with her, but we said, okay, well, why don't you be the point of contact since you have that connection with the family? And so, that ended up leading us to, months later, the daughter reaching out to all of us, wanting to just talk and tell us a little more about the case so we can bring it to our audience, which I will be getting that video up. But that's just how social media works. So if anybody sees this gal, knows anybody in Hermiston, Oregon, you're asked to please just reach out to them, show them the picture of this woman, see if they have any information. If they do, have them reach out to law enforcement and give the information, any information that they may have to the whereabouts of Graciela Garcia, or any information to information that they may know. If you're friends with this family and you haven't spoke to law enforcement yet, and you have some information, reach out to law enforcement. Tell them your story. It may help, it may not help, but you never know until you do.
Yeah, exactly. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Ronnie. Keep up the great work. And if you cover another case or anything, I'm happy to let you utilize the platform just to get the messaging out. And I'm happy to do, get stuff out on TikTok as well. I have a huge following over on TikTok, but anything we can do to help you or anybody else in our audience, because one of the reasons why I do what I do is to show other people they can do it too, right? So they can go out, because it's easier for you to have boots on the ground in your own community when things like this go on, and get the relevant information out to us, to the broader base. in your own community than it is for me to jump on a plane to go out there to cover it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
we definitely want anybody that's out there listening to this, if you guys have a case that you're covering and just want to bring some more attention to it, reach out to me. I'm happy to bring you on. I'm happy to let you share your case to the audience.
Yeah, definitely. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to start. Well, I've got another video ready that I'm going to upload. They're not the greatest right now because I'm learning how to edit and all that, but I am
It's harder than it
doing short.
looks.
Yeah. I'm doing the short videos for now, just until I can get used to this. But I'm covering people in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm going to start getting at least 2 videos out per week.
Yeah.
Of not just children, but I want to get adults out there. A lot of people are covering children. Adults are, I love kids so much, but adults are important too.
They are.
They've got children that need their parents and that need
Exactly.
their grandparents. And
so we have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Somebody in the audience asked, so can a vehicle drive from the road and into the river, or are there guardrails?
Oh, there's definitely places to drive into the river. But I don't know exactly where the phone pinged from. I just know it was the Washington Bridge. Now, if it was right on top of the bridge, it would have had to drive off the bridge, which was it's several feet high. They would have, had to. It would have been obvious that a vehicle drove off that bridge.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if there was any kind of like a boat ramp or something like that, because we just covered the Susan Smith case where she strapped the boys in and pushed them off a ramp and into a lake. And, the vehicle was submerged until she admitted to what she did. Law enforcement didn't even know. So it makes you wonder, was something in and around there that.
Yeah, there are boat ramps. I'm not sure if there's boat ramps right near where her phone pinged. But this is when this relative told me this a couple of days ago. This is what went through my mind. And I contacted Adventures with Purpose.
Okay. Yep. I just saw somebody asked about the, time to contact them. Yep.
They won't touch it.
And is that because of the element that you and I had discussed?
Yes, because there is a possibility that there is suspicion. It's a suspicious case.
Yeah, I got it. I don't want to like I said,
yeah,
sure we're all safe here. So Frenchie Mama, yes, there is a missing vehicle that we've determined being a pickup truck, not her normal vehicle that she's driven. So I'm curious as to, these are a couple questions that you may want to ask if you have contact with the family. One of the questions would be is, obviously she left in the pickup truck according to the husband, her current husband. How many times has she used that truck? That's going to be question 1. 2 would be, why would she use that truck on that day when she was supposed to be getting food? And 3, how often did the stepson, get delivered food from the stepfather? Typically, I can tell you in my experience, my stepfather, when my parents were divorced, never came over to my father's house. If he did, he stayed in the car. My mom handled everything. Stepfathers and ex-spouses typically don't mix, and it just seems odd. Did he come over there and there was no altercation? Of course, that's normal people act professionally, but typically having an ex-spouse show up on your doorstep unannounced is a little shocking. And so it's, or not an ex-spouse, but a current spouse showing up on an ex-spouse's front doorstep unannounced is a little shocking. So it just, I'm curious to find out how often that's happened in the past.
Yeah, I'll definitely find this out.
Yeah.
I don't have a notebook to write these questions down, Amber.
I'll send it to you. I'll send them to you here. Actually, let me just pull up the text real quick, and I'll send them to you in text.
Okay.
So we want to. Oh, that's the wrong one.
I would type it out, but I'm afraid I'll lose.
Yeah. So yeah, no, don't do that. I'll
screen.
send it to you. Hold on, break crook. So we want to know how often Graciela used the truck. Why she used it? Why she used the truck that day?
You don't think I said too much?
How
do you?
often did the stepfather go to the ex-spouse's house? Yeah, I may have misspelled something, but that's the gist of the 3 questions.
I'll get it.
Okay.
Do you think I said too much?
No, I think you were very good, very clear. People are curious, saying danger. What? But we can't even clarify that because it is what it is. So Anissa, she's great as always. Has gotten the links for Find Graciela. So for those that want to monitor this case and follow this case and feed us some information back on this case, please do so. There's also a GoFundMe page for Graciela as well. Everybody's saying thank you so much for you bringing attention to this. You did a great job. Again, you've been covering this case for some time. I know you personally have asked me to bring light to this gal. I haven't been able to do it until now. Yeah, so you're even getting some props that you should be a newspaper reporter. So kudos to Ronnie for covering this case.
Thank you, Katie. You're so sweet.
Yeah, very sweet, very sweet. Oregon will search even. I will. Katie said I will take equipment and go in the river and search it all over. So, Katie seems. Yeah, we could go. I'll meet you out there. I think it might be. How cold is it? It's still pretty cold in that area, right?
Yes. Oh,
yes.
yes.
We'll probably need, if we're going to be going doing a river search or something to that nature, we need to wait for it to warm up. We don't need to be getting hypothermia. I know people have, equipment and stuff that they can put on their body to prevent hypothermia, but I'd rather make sure that everybody that does decide to search, utilize proper safety protocol and procedures. So,
Andrea, I have felt from the very get-go that she's in there.
Yeah. It sounds like there's something going on because, I try to get into the minds of people, especially when I have, a person that I feel maybe a person of interest. I try to think of how would they be able to accomplish this? How would all these things be able to fall into place to cover their tracks? And, we find 9 times out of 10 that the person's actually closer than you might think. And when that's why I was asking you how far away this was, because if that's where the ping was, that sounds to me like somebody just in my experience and just my train of thought is if that was where the last ping was and it was on this bridge, and I know the fact that most of these phones you can't even remove the battery from, right? So so somebody can ping these phones all day long if they wanted to nowadays. It's not like a flip phone where you can just remove the battery and the signal goes away. But if that was where the ping was, it sounds like somebody chucked the phone into the water.
Yeah, I have a feeling he put all those things into, her passport, her ID, and her phone.
Yep.
I have a feeling he put it in something with her body. And, I just envisioned this whole time him putting her in a tote a big tote and weighing it down with river rock and like duct taping it shut. And then, you know, with this truck thing, putting her in that truck and running it off the boat ramp.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Or, you know, just hiding the truck somewhere else, in close proximity. I've got to look at the terrain there because, you know, even with like Todd Kohlhepp, you know, he had Charles Carver's car. He spray painted it a different color and stuck it in the bushes in the, you know, in where you couldn't, if you were above the house, it was in such thick brush that even when you drove a plane above it, you couldn't see the vehicle there, you know? So is there terrain like that there where he could have hid the vehicle with her in it, and then, you know, on his way back, walking through over that bridge, just take all of her stuff and chuck it into the water? Or could he have just put it all in the vehicle and pushed the vehicle into the water somewhere along that area, you know, to conceal this? And it does sound probable, you know, but we've been hearing about in the newspaper, in all fairness, we've been hearing about in the newspaper, you know, these people going out and scuba diving where the last known location of certain people are, and they've actually found vehicles where they've actually ran off the road themselves, and, you know, they were submerged. You know, could that have possibly happened? Of course, you know, there is the potential for that, but with the marital issues and the actions of the current husband not reporting her missing, you know, going over to the son's, you know, where he was at with his father and feeding him and telling people that she was sleeping. Those are all suspicious, you know, actions by the current husband that lead me to believe that she most likely didn't disappear, you know, by her own accident or on her own accord. It tells me that there's more things going on behind the scenes that may have led to her demise and her disappearance.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's rumored all over Hermiston that he's a very bad dude. So, you know, that's no secret. And a lot of people know a lot of bad things about him. So, you know,
well, if you find out stuff that you don't want to bring to the attention, but you want it brought to light, let me know. I'm happy to do it. I put my neck out on the line, you know, on a lot of different aspects, and I'm happy to help any way I can.
All right, girlfriend. Well, we can talk about I'll send you some screenshots.
Perfect. Yeah, send me what you want me to share, and you know, like I said, even if it does put me in a little bit of harm's way, I really don't care. You know, I put myself in harm's way all the time, and it is part of the job that I do. So.
All righty. I don't want to put you in danger. You're my friend.
I put myself in danger.
You do. I will have to say, you definitely do.
So,
but
yeah, anything we can do to help. You know, people still reach out to me all the time for different cases. You know, even Summer Wells, people didn't want me going out there because they feared for my well-being. I'm glad I did go out there, and it brought me enormous amount of grief for doing it.
Yeah.
And you guys have seen me go through something nobody else should have to go through in this world for covering a case. And that we will be, you know, we're addressing little by slow, but you know, I do put myself not only in harm's way physically, but you know, with all this nonsense that goes on these social media channels. So it is what it is, and wouldn't change any of it for the world. And we just keep trucking ahead, and you know, what's meant to break me never does. So
that's right, Andrea, because you are a strong woman. You have a good heart. I don't care what anybody says. You are my friend.
I know. I appreciate you too. Too.
Thank you.
Well, love and respect. Thanks for bringing this beautiful woman to the platform. Hopefully we can, if nothing more, provide, just some exposure, some additional exposure to her case. And, we just keep moving on and, just keep trying to bring attention. And hopefully her case is solved soon. This is technically now a cold case. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would like to ask if people, and I'm just telling you all, I'm not making doing my channel for money. That's not going to be my objective at all. I mean, you won't make money on short videos. Because you have to make money by watch hours.
Yep.
And you have to have at least 1,000 subs to start making money anyway. And I'm just asking if people can come and subscribe so that I can get these stories out to other people.
Sure.
So that they can
do me a favor,
recognized.
Ronnie. So what we're going to do is, why don't you throw your channel link into the chat, and we'll throw that out there. And when you come in here, people have it, and all the subs. You guys are more than welcome to promote Ronnie's channel. She's a friend of mine. We've been working together for some time. You followed me over from Twitter, I believe.
Yes.
And she's been with me for quite some time. So yes, throw your information into the chat, and the people here will go over and subscribe to your channel, and maybe we can help build your channel, because you cover a lot of cases that we don't, and we can definitely collaborate in the future. Like I've got some other collaboration ideas for these missing people and murder cases and things of that nature that I will be rolling out in the next, I don't know, I don't have time to deal with it right now, but in the next 5-6 months I'm planning on rolling out a whole new aspect of this, and I have to keep it tight-lipped because people watch me like a hawk, and they end up trying to sabotage and steal ideas. So we're just going to keep this under wraps, but I will talk to you privately about it. And sure. I think it'll be a real good venture for a few, true crime people.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about that.
Yeah. All right, love.
All right, honey.
Thank you so much.
Right. You bet. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, me too. And we will bring you back, as information becomes available to you and you want to update the case, just let me know and we'll bring you back on.
All right, honey. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah. Take care. And I know you're up early because you're what time is it? Like, it's not even quite 7 yet.
Well, no, it's just coming up on 7 here pretty soon. So
yeah. Well, we appreciate you being here.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having the live stream this morning.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you in the chat.
You got it. Bye-bye. So again, that's Graciela Garcia. I hope you guys learned some valuable information on her case. Yeah, there are some things that I really don't feel comfortable going into right now. As you could tell, Ron was a little hesitant to go over certain aspects, and we will, we will go over those things. This is her case. So as long as she allows me, to stick my neck out, I don't mind sticking my neck out. I do put myself in jeopardy all the time, and it's nothing new here. My law enforcement knows well aware what I do. I've got cameras on this house at all times. So we are going to be, moving forward with Graciela Garcia's case, and we want to bring as much information to you. And again, recently, and I probably need to put some cameras on my house myself, but with all the events that went on here, my neighbor has graciously turned a camera to my house, which makes me feel a little more safe. So I will sign up right now and spread to other creators. Perfect. That's what we need. So we really appreciate all the support. It really takes, this crime community, needs to be uniting, not having petty arguments, in my opinion, but to each their own. We will bring to light the cases that are important, and, all these cases, period, are important. It's just how many people have the time to deal with all of them. They don't. So we have to reach out to other people to talk about cases. This case hasn't garnered a whole lot of media attention in quite some time, right? It's a cold case that needs as much exposure as possible. So anybody out there that was in this area, knows somebody that lives in this area, anybody with any information is asked to reach out to law enforcement. Sometimes it's that small nugget of information that breaks a case wide open. So the idea here is to spread awareness, and that's what we're doing. So guys, we're at 3 hours. Wow. Right? Wow. So you guys have an amazing day. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to have time to do an afternoon show today or not. So I'm going to get to work. I got a lot of work to do, and we'll see if we have time for an afternoon show. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe this channel. Also, if you're not getting the notifications of the lives, please go out there, change your notification bell from none. You move it to none. Wherever it's at, just move it to none. Let it recognize that it went to none, and then move it back to all. If that doesn't work, what you can do is unsubscribe from the channel and immediately resubscribe, and that sometimes triggers it up as well. So guys, I want you to have a blessed Friday. TGIF. What a great coffee club we had today. We covered a lot of cases. We covered Ruth Sakala. We covered where Caleb Brown was. We covered Olivia Fowler, Tiffany Foster. We went over some Summer Wells information, and we were able to speak about Graciela Garcia. So, a very informative morning. We're very happy that everybody participated. If you have a case, if you have a missing person, if you have somebody a cold case, please don't hesitate to get some recognition and attention to that case by sending it to me or talking about it here in the chat. We will pick up on it. We will bring it to light. We will provide some kind of audience to it so that you can get the story and the message out there. So again, you guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. We will be back as soon as I can get back. If nothing more, we will have a live for Coffee Club tomorrow morning. Sunday, I will not be live. So with that, everybody, God bless each and every one of you. You're beautiful people, and we'll see you soon.